Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nate,
Not Jack.
and this is the Fourth and Nine Draw podcast. Today, we're going to be going over a few short news stories, doing a Week 12 recap, and then at the end, we're going to have a little special segment. We're going to be talking about the coaches and a few different coaches and whether or not we think they'll be fired or they have really good job security heading into the next season, I guess.
Something like that.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. All right, I guess we'll get right into the news. Jack,
Okay.
what do we have today?
All right. Well, there's some really big news, but we're gonna save it for last. Let's start with some smaller stuff. Andy Dalton. This is actually some of the other. This is bigger news actually. Andy Dalton is going back into the starting lineup for the Bengals. I only say this is bigger news because that actually means the Bengals might win a game, so that could change how the draft order is. Who knows? They were trying out Ryan Finley for a while to see if maybe they wouldn't have to draft a quarterback. Maybe, just maybe, they'd have someone to go into the future with. But not only was he mediocre, he was awful, actually. He was, after his first game, I was calling him Andy Dalton, but a bit worse. But that's just not the case. This guy was awful. Probably the worst starting quarterback in the league while he was playing. He was just the worst. And now Andy Dalton actually gives them a significant chance to win maybe a game or two.
Yeah.
Nothing much more else to say about that. Another small piece of news: Derwin James is returning, which, I mean, he was one of the best safeties in football last year, which was his rookie year. He's been out for the season all year this year. Him coming back is going to help that defense stabilize in the secondary. It's a bit too late now, but hey, I mean, it's, at least it'll give Chargers fans something to enjoy. All three of them are going to be hype.
Wow, that's the second time you made that joke on this.
No, last time I said 5. This time I said 3. So, for your information,
It's the same idea.
Get it right. Anyway, next is Devlin Hodges is going to be starting for the Cleveland Browns.
Dude.
He's going to be starting for the Steelers against the Cleveland Browns. The next game, which is pretty significant because Mason Rudolph starting would have been... It would have caused a lot of tensions, I feel, because... I mean, the man who pushed him down at the end of last game, Larry Ogunjobi, is going to be back for this game. I think there would be a lot of tensions, and that would cause a lot of issues. I mean, the NFL is trying to bury this game right now. They're giving it like some of the lesser-known commentators. Usually the Browns this year have been getting Tony Romo and good commentating teams. It's in the 1 o'clock time slot. They're not really promoting it. I think they're just trying to hope this flies by because they don't want any more violence issues or anything like that. It makes the league look bad. But anyway, on a sheer gameplay standpoint, I mean, Devlin Hodges does give them the best chance to win because Mason Rudolph sucks. He is the worst.
He's very bad.
We'll see if the Duck can, pull a win out. We'll see. Anyway, enough of this dumb news. Big news, the GOAT, DeShone Kizer. After, it's been a while. I've been waiting. He released a new picture on Instagram.
Wow.
Now, this is hold on. It's a big deal. So,
DK, baby.
DeShone Kizer released a picture of him holding a bag, leaving what appears to be a bus of sorts. And he said in the caption here, "Getting sick of Biscoffs at Jack Harlow." I don't know what any of that means. Doesn't matter. But there is something to worry about here. For a point of reference, his last picture got over 7,000 likes. This one, 3.5. Now, this is significant and a big deal because I mean, this has been a real decline when it comes to Instagram likes. I mean, he was getting over 20K when he was on the Browns. I'm not sure what's happening here, and hopefully he can recover from this soon. Obviously, he still has my support. I know he has yours. I see you liked it as well. So This could be, I mean, this is groundbreaking, and this could be a big game changer. But we'll see what happens. So anyway, that's it. That's it. That's it for the news. On the game recaps. What? What's up? I'm sorry. You have something to say about DeShone Kizer?
No, not really. I don't think there's a lot of people out there who have a lot to say about DeShone Kizer.
Come on. I mean, he has been a part of some of the greatest teams in NFL history. He was on the legendary 0-16 Browns. He
Mhm.
then was the backup quarterback to Aaron Rodgers during one of their more successful seasons, I'd say. When he was in the game, he was a game changer for sure. Lots of points were on the board because of him that game.
Mhm.
And this year, he's on the Raiders. Not kidding.
Well, I think the Raiders are just trying to keep it fair by not activating him, you know?
Well, if he gets activated, there's a chance he runs this league like with likes we've never seen. It'd be like the Lamar Jackson effect times 4.
Exactly. Yeah.
But we'll see. Actually, times
the
7.
Raiders are just trying to keep it competitive still. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so we'll see what happens. I mean, hopefully he gets his chance to shine, but whatever. We'll see. Anyway, let's move on. Next is the game recaps, and lots of bangers. I'd say, and while this might have been not the most exciting game, it was an important one with Colts at Texans. The Texans won 2017, moving to 7-4, while the Colts are now 6-5. This game showed me that I don't think Jacoby Brissett's the guy you want to go into next season with. I know he's shown a lot, but I don't know. He can do some things with his legs. He actually scored. He ran for a touchdown with also 20 yards. But I don't know. He's just... I feel like a lot of people have given Jacoby Brissett a lot of credit because they've gone 6-5 this year. But this is a team that'd be hard to go... it'd be hard to be bad on this team, I feel like.
I don't think his stat line shows... Like, his... He completed 16 passes on 25 attempts, but that doesn't really show the full story. T.Y. had at least 2 drops that I saw. 2 drops that shouldn't have been drops, especially for a receiver that is the caliber of T.Y. So that was a shame to see. Oh, look at that. Jack Doyle. He had 3 catches.
Fantasy legend.
Look at that.
Absolute legend.
I didn't see that. I watched this game, and it wasn't very exciting. It was a lot of fun to watch DeAndre Hopkins, though. He had a really good game. So it was a lot of fun to watch him and see my fantasy score go up, but still inevitably lose. So
beaten by your own father.
Yes, that sucked.
That's a real shame.
Yeah, I was talking mad crap in the morning, too, and then I ended up losing.
You were texting your own dad, and he came in with the whooping. That's a shame.
That's child abuse. So.
That's a something. Anyway, Will Fuller with the
Jonathan Williams had a great game though.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking. I'm going back to my old ways, my narrative ways. But I've never been a huge Marlon Mack guy, and this just drives home that it's the line, man. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying.
He got hurt, or he was out, right?
I know. Well, no. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if this Jonathan Williams guy can get over 100 yards, this dude who's like never played like a couple snaps in his career, then I mean, come on, anybody can do it. I mean, come on.
Yeah, sure, man. All right.
I mean, look at Naheem Hines getting 51 yards on 9 carries. Come on, everybody's running, everybody's eating. Quentin Nelson's the star here. I'm tired of everything else.
All right, let's just move on. I'm tired of this.
Fire game on Thursday Night Football. Next, we have the Dolphins at Browns. This game was it was pretty fun to watch as a Browns fan. There was a lot of scoring. Ryan Fitzpatrick, it was his birthday. He turned 37. Congratulations, Ryan. Baker Mayfield threw 3 touchdowns in the first half. The offense was, it was electric. It looked great. It was moving how it should have moved, or how it should have been moving all year. I mean, this is what I was told.
It is the Dolphins.
I get that. I'm just saying this is a nice step. That being said, they kind of slowed down in the third quarter a lot. They couldn't get anything going. The Dolphins actually, I think they scored 17 unanswered points. And at the time, I know looking at the base score, the box score of 41-24, this is going to sound silly, but I was getting a little worried. I was like, oh no, because it was 28-3 at halftime or something. That's terrifying. That's a dangerous score. 28-3.
Yeah.
You don't want that. And that's what it was. And the Dolphins scored 17 unanswered points. It's all of a sudden, I'm scared, I'm freaking out. But the Browns then promptly put it away. A little. I've noticed something here. Austin Seibert used to think he was the GOAT. Thought he was a really good kicker. Missed 2 last week. Missed another this week. He can't kick past 45 yards. I'm discovering. So that's not good. But anyway, Ryan Fitzpatrick, the box score might not show it. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks might seem a little iffy, but he was really, really effective. Actually, all things considered. I mean,
he had a really good rushing stat line.
Yeah, 5 for 45.
It's Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I mean, Ryan Fitz is one of the greatest to ever play, so not surprising. But I mean, his line was being utterly mauled by a Myles Garrett-less and Larry Ogunjobi-less defensive line. And he was still getting utterly destroyed. I mean, Sheldon Richardson has been fantastic all year. He's actually the second through the last 4 weeks. He has been the second highest graded defensive tackle in the league, if I'm not mistaken, behind only your boy Aaron Donald. That's his name. My mind was a bit blank there. Anyway, Kalen Ballage continues to be the worst running back in football. So that was that. Devontae Parker has actually been pretty good this season. He had another good game. But overall, it was a really, 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 really rough showing for the Dolphins and specifically their defense and O-line. And their secondary
Everything was a rough showing for them.
Yeah, I mean, the secondary was abused by Jarvis Landry and Odell, like most secondaries should be, but they've been contained pretty well this season, unfortunately. Nick Chubb ran all over them. Kareem Hunt's was pretty good. It was fantastic. And Joe Schobert continues to be one of the best linebackers in football. 2 more interceptions this week, 2 tackles. He's been fantastic. But yeah, nothing much else to talk about that. Next, a game that I mean, this is a banger. Lions at Redskins. I mean, wow. Jeff Driscoll and Dwayne Haskins had a freaking shootout. I mean, field goals on field goals. I can't believe it. But what this showed me is Matt Prater can't deliver the goods. He missed a kick, and that would have tied the game up. Whereas Dustin Hopkins went 4 for 4 on field goals. The real star, the deciding factor, and the MVP of the game. Also, Dwayne Haskins and Jeff Driscoll suck. Let's move on.
Yes, they do.
Oh, here's a banger. I'm going to let you take this one.
Oh, my God.
It's your boy.
Sam Darnold, baby.
The Jets defeated the Raiders 34-3.
Yeah, this is a weird game because, Josh Jacobs. How you still feeling about that Rookie of the Year?
All right. In fairness. Okay,
against the Jets.
I get it. It's only one game, and he got pulled, I think, in the 3rd quarter. So, I'm not worried about one mediocre showing. He played like Le'Veon Bell one time this season. I'm not worried.
Kyler Murray's getting the Rookie of the Year award. Just saying.
Oh, do you mean like the 4th and 9 draw Rookie of the Year award, or like the real Rookie of the Year?
The real Rookie of the Year award.
Okay, we'll see.
Sam Darnold popped off.
Oh, so man.
That's what I love to see.
Oh, yeah. He's getting drunk and kissing women. That's what I've seen.
Yeah, there's a news report that said I don't know if it was real or not. I didn't look into it at all because I didn't really care. But it said that he hooked up with somebody after the game. So that's hype.
Sounds about
Congratulations,
right.
Sam.
Sounds about right.
He's a cutie.
I mean, that's something he would do. Also, I've been slandering Le'Veon Bell this whole time we've recorded the pod. But Le'Veon Bell actually had a pretty good game. I mean, he only had 12 carries, but 4 or 9 yards on those 12 carries. I mean,
He had 59 receiving yards, too.
Yeah, okay, he was effective. He was good. So, if they can get more play like that out of him, that'd be a good step in the right direction. I will say this.
That's what they've basically been getting out of him for the season so far. Not the rushing stat line, but receiving.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is gonna sound silly, but the Jets, their upcoming schedule is easy. I think they play the Bengals next, if I'm not mistaken. They have a really easy schedule upcoming, and if they can just keep it going, this is gonna sound crazy, but if Sam Darnold can win out, it's the AFC. They can make it at 9-7. They could make the playoffs.
That's true, but I don't think they're gonna win out.
Oh, I don't either, but it's just a possibility, and if anyone can do it, Sam Darnold can.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Raiders are fumbling their playoff chances away.
Yeah, they are.
They play the Chiefs next week. If they lose that, it's you got to believe that's pretty much a wrap, but we'll see. I mean, that would only put them at 6 losses, but I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. This is a game they really should have had, and if they did, they'd be 7-4, and they're sitting pretty. Now they're going to have to really work for it. But anyway, on to Giants at Bears. Yeah, remember when I said this week was full of bangers? I don't know why I said that.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad games this week, dude. This is like like I said before we started recording, this was like 1 week. I watched one game. That was it. That was a Packers game. And even then, that was not a banger.
I watched a couple, condensed versions. Yeah. I mean, Mitchell Trubisky is just the worst. I would rather watch Jared Goff play football than Mitchell Trubisky. I can't stand watching this man play the game of
Mitchell
football.
Trubisky is not good. And this defense, as we've been talking about, is just not... Like, the Bears just don't have a good team anymore, sadly.
I still think their defense is pretty good. It's just not...
it's not what it was last year. Not even close.
I'd argue they're still top 5.
Ha Clinton Dix sucks.
Ooh, he was getting some hype early this season as one of the better safeties in the first month of the season, but yeah, I found Ha Clinton Dix is a very streaky player. Sometimes he's really great and then sometimes he's really bad for a period of time. He's probably not.
There was also talk about David Montgomery being a good running back for the Bears.
Yeah, he has been less than stellar.
Yeah, just stick with Tariq Cohen. They're just not using him correctly.
Well, Tariq Cohen has not been what he was the last couple of years. He was, for the last 2 years, a big play threat that you could pass to and occasionally run with, and he could sneak between tackles and get a big play. This year, he hasn't been as effective in that role, but he's still been better than David Montgomery, who's been inconsistent. Like I said, 13 carries, only 22 yards, no touchdown. Not great. Only 2 catches for only 9 yards. Yeah, he's been pretty lackluster this season. Probably something you want to address in the offseason, but we'll see what they do with that. I mean, their priority this offseason is going to be QB. That's a necessity.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
their playoff hopes are technically still alive at 5-6, but I wouldn't get too excited, especially in the NFC. You're going to have to win out, so they're pretty much done. The Giants, on their side, we haven't even talked about them at all. Another not so great game from Saquon. I mean, 59 yards, but on 17 carries. It's just average. So, and only 2 catches for 1 yard. It might be something to worry a little bit about. I mean, he's probably just getting over an injury, and I'm sure he'll be fine. But it's interesting. Something to keep an eye on. Also, rip your fantasy once again. Sorry about that. But that's something to keep your eye on. Next, a banger.
This was a fun game. This was a really fun game. I watched highlights for it.
Yeah, Panthers at Saints.
Kyle Allen popped off.
He's proven the doubters wrong. Kind of.
I don't know. He's really inconsistent.
Yeah, I know. Well, on the bright side, DJ Moore is freaking fantastic. He's shaping up to be one of the better receivers in the league. Definitely a top, I'd say, like 15 receiver. Probably. I'd have to think about that, actually. But he's been really good this season. Christian McCaffrey, well, it was tough for him to find running room on the ground. It is the Saints, who have a pretty good defense. He still scored in the air as well, off 9 catches.
Yeah, he had 2 total touchdowns.
So, pretty good game for him all around. Once again, great game for DJ Moore. He played great. Curtis Samuel was pretty quiet. I feel like he's had a tougher second half of the season. He was doing great for the first half, but yeah, he's definitely had it a bit tougher. Although he had 4 rushes for 40 yards, so what do I know? But anyway, on the Saints side, you had Drew Brees threw 3 touchdowns, a pick. Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray, they had a pretty successful game on the ground. They've been really good for them all season. Mark Ingram, losing him, I feel like as a runner, hasn't really hurt them. However, I do think losing him as a player in the locker room I think he's a great locker room guy. You could tell when you watch him in the Ravens interviews and stuff, he's always hyping up Lamar Jackson. He's always happy and positive. I think that might have been the bigger loss than actually him as a player. But as a player, Latavius Murray's filled that role just fine. Michael Thomas continues to be the best wide receiver in football this season. And they just squeak out of Panthers game, which is, I guess, something you don't want to just squeak out of, but still. Overall, probably the best game of the week. Unless I'm forgetting something.
Yeah, no, that definitely was.
Yeah, and a really bad week for football.
Yeah.
Next, just another game I really don't want to talk about much.
The rest of these games are just games I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, let's just bang on through. I mean,
yeah.
Seahawks to Eagles.
We can just go over the games themselves. You don't have to go over stat lines.
Seahawks win 17-9. Russell Wilson has an okay game. And Carson freaking Wentz, man. Oh, this
sucked.
Was a stinker. Maybe the worst game of his career, at least that I can think of. This was a stinker. He was missing. I mean, I don't even need to talk about this much because everyone's surely seen it. He's overthrowing checkdowns by like 10 yards, dude. Yeah. He overthrew Miles Sanders, who was like wide open 5 yards downfield. How do you?
Yeah, that is
rough game, and it's a shame because Miles Sanders played a pretty good game at that. But yeah, rough game. Zach Ertz, their only real contributor here. The rest of it, and a bit of Miles Sanders. Yeah, tough game. That was really bad. The Seahawks looking for that division win. But anyway. Moving on to this one was a bit more fun, but still. Buccaneers at Falcons. The big story of this game was Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin was insane. I mean, before this game, you're talking about everyone was saying, "Oh, well, the Falcons' defense has been completely revamped. They're doing great things now," and they were. But Chris Godwin utterly abused them this game. I would say the Falcons did pick off Jameis 2 times, but I feel like my high school team could probably pick him off once or twice too. So that's not too incredible. But yeah, anyway, Chris Godwin completely dominated. He has arguably been more dominant than Mike Evans this season, although you could argue that that's partially because Mike Evans has been double covered more. But nonetheless, Chris Godwin's been freaking fantastic. Another underrated player on their team is also Ronald Jones. He's been awesome. I don't know why he's splitting carries with Peyton Barber, who's not awesome. Actually, okay, I shouldn't say Ronald Jones has been awesome, but he was terrible last year, so he's improved greatly, and I think he needs more carries. On the Falcons side, Matt Ryan played okay, nothing special. Their run game is their run game is non-existent right now, and even if Devonta Freeman comes back, I wouldn't say that fixes it. He hasn't been that good either, but it's gotten worse without him for sure. Calvin Ridley played a pretty good game, and I mean that's about that. It was nothing special from the Falcons side, and they did not deserve to win. Moving on to a game that doesn't require much to talk about here, but the Broncos. Yeah, these games are. I'm trying. The Broncos got shellacked by the Bills.
What's Brandon Allen doing?
I don't know.
He threw the ball 25 times and only had 82 yards. What the heck, dude? What is this?
He looks like John Elway when he plays the Browns, but against the Bills, looks like Deshaun Kaiser.
Oh. How are you that unproductive? That's crazy, man. What the heck?
I don't even know what the depth is there, but if he's available, I think it's Drew Lock time. It has to be. I don't know. He was eligible to return, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if he's actually over his injuries yet.
At this point, just
if he is healed up, you gotta play him.
Yeah.
I mean, playoffs.
Your playoffs are done. You might as well just see what you got.
See what's going on, because you're probably gonna get somebody new in the offseason anyway. See if you actually don't have to do that with Drew Lock here.
Right.
So we'll see. I mean, Cortland Sutton, who's been great, he had 1 catch for 27 yards, but how are you gonna? Okay, we're moving on. Josh Allen, by the way.
Case Keenum.
Josh Allen's looking good. Devin Singletary also the ground game was just great. Josh Allen is actually proving to be. He's really turned it on at the end of this season. He's having a nice season, so you can call me a Josh Allen supporter. DraftJoshAllen.com. Oh no. We have Steelers at Bengals next. I mean, somehow Ryan Family didn't look like the worst quarterback on the field this game. Mason Rudolph actually somehow was worse. Luckily, the Duck came in and saved it. I mean, he was under 50% completion, but no matter. He threw for 100 yards.
That's
on less attempts than Mason Rudolph. Yeah, he's the Duck is going to come in and absolutely destroy my poor Cleveland Browns. So.
Yeah, I can't with a good conscience start the Browns defense in fantasy. I mean, my fantasy season's over.
But you can't do it with Ducks in.
Yeah, not because that would just be such a Browns thing to do. Is just to get absolutely destroyed by Devlin Hodges.
I mean, come on. Anyway,
so get ready for that pain.
Ryan Family
that's coming.
Was still really bad. I shouldn't. He was still bad. Mixon played really well. Tyler Boyd had a great game. I dropped him, so that's awesome. And that's about all. The Steelers won this 16-10. Should have won by a lot more, but that's how it is. I mean, if Andy Dalton's playing, he wins that game. That's all I know. So the Bengals should be happy that he wasn't. Keep the tank alive. Moving on. Next is a game that still wasn't very good, but I think it has a lot more talking points. The Jaguars fell to the Titans at the Titan Stadium, 42-20. The Titans absolutely dismantled them. Ryan Tannehill looks like the GOAT right now.
It's weird. I mean, okay, so the Titans have a really good team.
Yeah, good roster.
But it's just Marcus Mariota was garbage. So maybe they found a good quarterback in Ryan Tannehill. Because Ryan Tannehill never really had a good team on the Dolphins. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe this is his home.
Maybe. And, I mean, you might as well see – I think they're going to give him either a little – I think they'll probably slap him down a little Jacoby Brissett deal. 2 years, maybe making $15 to $20 million a year, something smaller.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, why not? Because you're going to be in the middle of the draft, or maybe even if they keep winning, they'll be in the later end of the draft. Screw it. Just go into the next season with Ryan Tannehill. Maybe have somebody behind him that you can, look to develop. I don't know, but
Marcus Mariota.
He's done. We'll see.
Derrick Henry had a monster game yet again. He killed me in fantasy. It was rough. It was rough.
Derrick Henry had an awesome game. I mean, that's what Derrick Henry is. One game he'll be averaging 1.5 yards a carry off 50 carries. One game he'll just kill everybody.
I hate it.
He's awesome when he's.
Yeah, the Jaguars just could not stop Derrick Henry. It was really rough. He was breaking tackles left and right, at least from what I saw in the highlights. It was rough. Not a good day for the Jags.
Yeah, the Jags. I mean, I guess maybe another week. And I love Nick Foles as a person. He's a great guy, but it's time to see Minshew again. I mean,
yeah. Nick Foles came back. He had one good drive, and then that was about it.
And the thing is, your playoff hopes are dead, so this isn't about we got to make the playoffs. But let's be honest here, Minshew's your guy for the future. I mean, you have to assume. We'll see what they do. I mean, I think they're going to give Nick Foles one more game. But if he doesn't perform next game, I think it's time. Leonard Fournette had a good game.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I've been saying this for a while. Nick Foles is not that great of a quarterback. He, don't get me wrong, I can't – the best way, or the only way really to explain the whole, Eagles thing was just pure luck. I don't know.
Well, also fantastic play calling, great players around him, which he doesn't have here. So, but anyway.
Oh, he's got
what?
Daniel Westbrook, DJ Chark.
DJ Chark's actually played well. Daniel Westbrook. Anyway, we're moving on. We're moving on from this game.
Oh.
And, what now? What's wrong? This is a great game. I mean, Cowboys Patriots? Come on. Everybody loves a rain game. Everybody loves a windy, rainy game. That's what's good. That's the stuff. Anyway, the Cowboys look pathetic in a 13-9 loss at Gillette Stadium. It was sad state of affairs as Dak Prescott. I mean, he had a bad game, but I'm not holding it too much against him. Tom Brady.
He's quietly put together a really good season. So
really, really good season. But the weather was so bad that no one could really get anything done. I mean, field goals are being missed up the wazoo here. Like half the field goals got kicked, got missed. I think it was pretty bad. It was just a rough game where Zeke actually ran pretty well, which is a rarity. I mean, Zeke. Something's not right. He's had one 20-yard rush, or one rush that went above 20 yards all season. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, hopefully, I don't know what they do there because they haven't signed Dak or Amari to big deals, but lucky for them, they got Zeke. And I guess I can't crap them too much for it because I would have probably told them to do that too because before this, Zeke was the best of the three, but this season he's easily been the worst, so what do I know? Anyway, the Patriots finally get something going in the run game, win this game. I mean, Tom Brady continues to play pretty bad this season, but once again, with this weather, I can't really be too upset. And also, Stephon Gilmore continues to be one of the best defensive players in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to a game that you're going to really take hold of here. This is a U game.
I'm kind of over it.
Packers at 49ers. Now, this was a close one. This was tough. The 49ers squeak out of their own stadium 37-8 versus the Packers. This was a pretty tough one.
It was a pretty close game, all things considered. You know,
I mean, Tim Boyle, this is the Tim Boyle Bowl. I'd like to hear about that as well, but let's hear your
I mean, I don't know. There's not much to say about Tim Boyle.
I thought
he got put in towards the end of the game, and they didn't really.
He's the goat. But anyway, go ahead. Tell me about what happened in this game because I didn't watch it.
So, yeah, it was a tough game from start to finish. Just to watch. Especially the Packers heading into the game were 8-2.
Oh, yeah. So,
like, I don't know. People are talking about the Packers making a Super Bowl run possibly with this team, but you know, they don't have it yet. It's weird. The offensive line this year has not been ideal, especially David Bakhtiari, who is considered one of the best tackles, if not the best tackle in the entire league. He is not played well this season. I don't know his exact stats, but he has given up a lot of sacks. And then this game alone, the offensive line gave up 5 sacks. And, you know, the 49ers defense is amazing. So, you know, you can't really discredit that. But Aaron Rodgers just didn't look great today. He was under a lot of pressure, forcing him to throw the ball or dump the ball off a lot, which was a shame. I really wanted this to be a good game. Even if we lost in a close game, I would have much preferred that than this because this just proves to me that the Packers are probably going to make the playoffs still because of their record, but they're definitely a one-and-done team, like always. So
I mean, they might lose the division to the Vikings now, so
that's true. Well, we still face the Vikings later on. So the thing that the Packers, I think, are definitely ready to go on. They're going to win these next 2 games, I think. They have the Giants this week and then the Redskins right after that. So hopefully the Packers win those 2 games. If they don't, then there's a serious problem. There's also some really bad play calling from Matt LaFleur, which we haven't really seen from him in a couple weeks, but it's a shame. You know, I really do like Matt LaFleur. I think he put a little bit of life into this offense, but the Packers now are getting to a point that I don't like, and it's the fact that since Devontae Adams has come back off of his injury, they haven't been spreading the ball around a lot, and they've really gotten vanilla with their play calling. Like, it just now consists of Aaron Rodgers trying to force the ball to Devontae Adams when he doesn't need to, and then he's not feeding his team. It's a shame. I really want them to get better at the play calling and get more. What's the right word?
Creative.
Yeah, more creative. Because
the team is definitely void of creativity right now.
Yeah, no, it's the same exact thing that happened with Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy, you know, in 2010, 2011, he was one of the most innovative play callers in the NFL, and then, like, towards the end of his tenure with the Packers, he was probably one of the most vanilla play callers in the league. And that's kind of happening with Matt LaFleur right now. He's not really – he's gotten Jamal Williams to be really helpful on offense, but he hasn't really gotten much out of Aaron Jones, or at least much that – he hasn't gotten consistency out of Aaron Jones, which is a shame.
Well, it looked like he was turning him into a star, but he's been pretty quiet the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's the problem. And
I mean, any MVP talks are out the window for him now.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's because now he can't just keep up now. You know, he had some amazing games, and it's just sad. Because, like, I know this isn't a team that's going to the Super Bowl. They're probably going to lose in the divisional. Maybe. I don't know. It's sad.
I can see them making it to the conference if they can pull it together.
I mean, okay, so the only thing is that you can't discredit Aaron Rodgers. It's still Aaron Rodgers, even though he hasn't had.
If he can turn it on, they can. They can put a Super Bowl.
He hasn't played. It's just a shame because, like I said, he needs to get back to spreading the ball around a lot. He's done this both this season and last season. He's missed a lot of wide open players, not in terms of throwing, but just missed them straight up. Like, he doesn't even give them a look. It's so weird. It's just like, this isn't the Aaron Rodgers we've seen like in previous years, and that's such a shame.
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't count them out or anything yet, but they might lose this division, which would be really bad news because then you're in the wild card round. That's bad.
Yeah.
You want to try to go. Actually, I don't know if they'll. Yeah, we'll see what happens with them. But anyway, let's move on to the game that everyone's talking about now, and only because of one of the teams in it. Ravens at Rams. I mean, this game was one of the biggest shellackings I have seen in quite some time. The Rams, Jared Goff is bad. The run game is bad. Everything is bad. Done talking about them. The Ravens, however, holy moly. I mean, I'm not going to get too much into it, I don't think, because it's been talked to utter death, but Lamar Jackson is fantastic. Yeah. 5 touchdowns in the air, 95 yards in the ground. Mm-hmm. He's been awesome. And then Mark Ingram also had quietly a fantastic game, over 100 yards on only 15 carries and a touchdown. I mean, it's been fantastic. I mean, they're the best team in football right now, and if I had to choose a team right now to win the Super Bowl, it would be them. Because they're just, I don't know who's stopping them right now. We'll see if they slow down or another team picks up steam. But right now, nobody's better.
Did you talk about Mark Ingram also had a receiving touchdown too?
Oh, yeah, did he?
Yep.
Nice, yep. So, yeah, he's been great for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I don't know if the Saints miss him per se because his role has been filled pretty well by Latavius Murray, but he's been great for the Ravens, a perfect fit.
Yeah.
And usually I've been seeing running back free agent signings haven't been the greatest recently. Once they're off their rookie deal, it seems like they start to slow down and they just don't work well. But this is great for them. Perfect fit. Mm-hmm. A home run signing. So anyway, we're going to move on now to the game picks. And we're starting with the traditional Thanksgiving. I mean, it's Bears at Lions. I mean, who are you picking on Thanksgiving? I'm going, and before you even say that, I got it. I'm going with the Lions. It's Thanksgiving. It's their time.
I got to go with the Bears. Dude, I don't know. Oh, come on.
I can tell you what I won't be watching on Thanksgiving with my family. All right, now here's a much more fun Thanksgiving game. Bills at Cowboys. That's a game I'd actually like to watch. And I'm going to give it to the Cowboys.
I'm going to give it to the Bills. I think that Bills' secondary is really good. It's going to be hard for them to really get any semblance of a passing game going. I think they will later on, but I think for the first half they're going to be quietly shut down. I think Josh Allen, is going to have a good game here.
I think you will too. The Cowboys' defense has been pretty bad this season, so I also agree, and I understand where you're coming from there, especially because Amari has not been 100%. Mm-hmm. But I am going to go with the Cowboys because I think I think they can take advantage of the Bills not having the greatest run defense. I mean, and they can really get Zeke going and squeeze a dub out here. Next is Saints at Falcons. A little bit of a trap game, but I'm going to go with the Saints.
Yeah, I got to go with the Saints here. The Falcons have just been the worst this season, and it's a shame. Their defense is garbage, and then their offense has been fairly inconsistent for
their
the
run
most
game's
part.
been bad. Their run game's been very bad all season.
Well, that's Devontae.
Well, that's everybody. No matter who they put back there has been terrible. I don't know if it's a scheme thing, if it's the O-line, or they just don't have good enough players. But yeah, that's been rough. I think it's a players thing because whenever I watch their running backs run, it always looks bad. No matter who's running, they always can't make people miss. So I think it's a players thing. Honestly, I think they just need to start over the running back room. Maybe it's time to part ways with Freeman. I would part ways with most of the running back room actually, and then just try to start new. Draft somebody, sign some guys, see what happens there. Maybe pull in Melvin Gordon. But anyway, Titans at Colts. This is a fun one, and I'm going to go Titans. No one can stop Tannehill. He's the goat.
Yeah, I gotta go Titans as well.
Yeah,
I think Derrick Henry's gonna have another fire game.
I mean, here's the thing.
Or he's just gonna rush for he's gonna rush 15 times. Only get 20 yards or something. I don't know.
That's a possibility.
Yeah.
But I'll take the Titans here because I just think their offense is so much better than the Colts right now.
Yeah.
I think their pass game is much better. Anyway, this is a banger. I don't know why this is a 1:00 game. I don't understand.
Yeah, same.
I mean, you got to make room for Rams Cardinals at 4, so maybe that makes it. Oh, and Chargers Broncos, can't forget it. But
my God.
At 1:00 we have 49ers Ravens. 49ers.
Hold on. That's annoying. Who schedules these damn games?
Well, I kind of get it before the season starts, but you can flex this.
No, that doesn't make any sense because the Cardinals were still looking like trash anyway. What the heck?
I don't know. I mean, sometimes
who cares? Let's just move.
Okay, who are you taking? I'm taking the Ravens at home.
I'm going to take the 49ers.
I could see it. Yeah,
I think this defense. I think this is going to be the first time we see Lamar Jackson in check. I think this is going to be.
It's the Browns.
Yeah, I think they're. Oh God, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I think the 49ers are going to lock down. So the Ravens don't have a good receiving core, so they're basically just take them out of the equation.
As long as you can, with the Ravens, the thing is you got to try to keep their tight ends, their running backs in check in the passing game. And keep an eye on Marquise Brown. He's their best wide receiver, and it's not particularly close.
Yeah, I'm going to go 49ers here. I don't know. I can't say whether or not Jimmy G is going to have a good game. He's been inconsistent. So
yeah, I think he's been getting better, though. He's been being a lot more consistent lately, but we'll see. Anyway.
Oh, God.
Next we have It's Jets at Bengals. It's run the table time for Sam Darnold, and I'm picking the Jets as he dismantles the Andy Dalton-led Bengals.
I'm going to pick the Bengals here. I think Andy Dalton. God. Yeah, I think Andy Dalton's actually going to lead a comeback.
Okay, let's move on. I don't want to hear that. I'm not trying to hear that. You're
gonna be mad. You're gonna be mad when Andy Dalton's gonna throw for 450 yards, 5 touchdowns and 3 picks, and it's gonna be awesome.
He's gonna be saying, "You like that?"
Yeah. You like
All
that.
right. We're going Browns and Steelers now. I mean, I gotta pick the Browns, my boys.
I'm gonna go with Steelers here.
The Duck.
I think the Duck is gonna flame you up, and I'm gonna have to listen to you get really mad.
I'm gonna get mad, and he's gonna be quacking along. I'm pissed. I will be upset. Eagles at Dolphins. I'm going with Eagles.
So this is gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, because you have the Eagles offense that can't do anything. And Dolphins, who seem to be kind of rolling, even though they got destroyed last week or this week. I think
I think the Eagles are going to win this, but I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick, we're going to see him, tuck his shoulder on a 10-yard run,
Real quick, I just want to go over your last 3 picks. We have Bengals, Steelers, Dolphins. Are we sure? I mean,
yeah, I'm positive.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Because when they all lose, you're going to be pissed.
I mean, I'm probably not even going to care about these picks. I'm probably going to forget them all, so I don't really care.
That's fair. Redskins at Panthers.
I'm going to go Redskins here. I think Dwayne Haskins is going to have a breakout game.
You really don't care about these picks. All right, next season we'll chop off a body part if we lose. I'll go the Panthers because I want to win.
Okay.
Redskins are the worst team to watch in football. I think I said it was the Bears.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey is going to Oh, it's not going to be pretty what this man does to this Redskins team.
Packers at Giants.
I'm
going to be crazy, and I'm going to pick the Giants. Packers are in a slump. Giants are at home. Daniel Jones takes advantage while Eli watches on from the bench in tears.
Yeah, I got to go with the Packers, and I'm not just saying that because they're my favorite team. Well, a little bit because of that, but also I just think that the Giants the last time that we saw Aaron Rodgers go up against the bad defense, he destroyed, and it wasn't even close. So I think that we have that to look forward to here.
Yeah, they'll probably win, but I don't know. Get a cheeky pick in there with my Giants pick. All right, this is one that I don't really know. I know who I'm going to pick because I know who's starting, but Bucks at Jags. I'm picking the Bucks solely because Nick Foles is starting.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Bucks here. Jameis Winston, he throws like 3 picks a game, but he also throws 3 touchdowns a game. So
yeah, like 300 yards in there,
Yeah.
And I just don't think. I mean,
Jameis doesn't care about stats, dude. He just throws it up. He doesn't take no for an answer. He is an absolute winner.
Yeah. Here's the thing: if this is Nick Foles' game, he has to perform because he's playing against arguably the worst secondary in football. He needs to perform, and if he can't light up the Bucks, it's over for him. Yeah. I don't think he recovers from that, but we'll see. But I'm still going with the Bucks. Anyway, a game that the world will be watching: Bucks at Cards, and I think it's quite easy. I'm picking the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm picking the Cardinals too. Kyler Murray's been really good this season. The Rams can't get anything done on the field on both sides of the ball, it seems.
Their defense
so
is
I gotta go
Cardinals. I mean,
Jalen Ramsey has not been the pickup that the Rams needed. It's such a shame.
The Rams don't have a first-round pick until 2022, I'm fairly certain. So they have to figure this out in-house.
Yeah, that's rough. That's absolutely rough.
And their biggest concern is those tackles are a train wreck. The O-line in general is a big problem for them. And if they can't get that figured out in the later rounds in free agency, they're in big trouble for the foreseeable future. So that's a shame for them. These big splashy trades are finally starting to catch up to them. But Raiders
they're playing Madden.
Yeah, no. Except if they're playing Madden, they can probably get those first round picks back pretty easy. But Raiders at Chiefs.
I gotta go Chiefs here. Patrick Mahomes, unstoppable. Raiders kind of slowing down, especially after their last game. Yeah. This is a must-win, too, and it's a shame that it's against the Chiefs. That being said, I think this is going to be somewhat of a shootout because that Chiefs defense is bad.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs put the Raiders away for good this season. I think the Raiders continue to be a fun team, but yeah, I think this is about the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could probably hear Josh and Bunky in the background for a second there.
No, I couldn't hear them, but I saw that they joined the party.
Yeah, so there's a little cameo for anybody that's deep into the pod. I'm at an Xbox party and my controller died, and through the TV, all you hear is Josh. Oh, really? So I viewed my mic and took care of that real quick. But next time I won't mute my mic over. I'll just anyway. We're moving on. Thanks for nothing, Josh. Chargers at Broncos.
Chargers. Don't say Broncos.
Yeah, I guess I'll go with Chargers too. I mean, this game all these 4:00 games.
This just blows.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my god.
Which 4:00 game are you want? I guess Raiders at Chiefs is the best one.
Probably Oh no, that's a Sunday. That's a Sunday night game. Yeah.
The best one's Raiders and Chiefs.
It's a division.
That's at least 2 decent teams. Chiefs are good. Raiders are decent. I'll enjoy that. I can't enjoy the other ones, but yeah, I'll go Chargers. Broncos are strolling out one of the worst QBs in the NFL starting at the moment, even though they lit up the Browns. I know, but and there's just nothing good going on over there. I'm really not a big fan of what they have happening. So yeah, pretty simple there. Here's a pretty fun game. Patriots at Texans. I think it was last year. They had an absolute banger of a game. I think it was week 3, and it was awesome. So at home, I'm picking the Texans.
I'm picking the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean I think it's a coin flip game, but I just think that the Texans have been struggling on offense recently, but I think they're going to put it together. I think they're going to put it together and score a lot. And at that point, I don't know how the Patriots keep up because Tom Brady has not been very effective this year. I think a little hot take.
We were saying that last year too, and then they still won the Super Bowl. So
that's it. I'm proclaiming.
What do you have to do?
Tired.
What?
this season, Tom Brady, he's hanging it up. He's hanging up the MAGA hat. He's going home.
I mean,
we'll see. But
yeah, I can't definitively say yes or no.
Nick and I, but I'm guessing. Anyway, this is a really fun game on Monday night. I'm actually really excited for this game. Vikings at Seahawks. Really exciting.
I think the Seahawks are just going to squeak by with this.
The Seahawks have been undefeated on the road. At home is where their only losses have come. I'm going to pick the Vikings because I don't know. It's weird. The Seahawks have always been good at home. That's like their thing. Their stadium. You can't win in their stadium. This year it's been a bit different. You can't beat them on the road, apparently. So I'm going to go with the Vikings to steal one at their own at Seahawks Stadium. So that's it for this week's picks. Now the only thing left to do is to move on to our segment at the end, which is I'll explain. I'm just going to name some coaches that I think probably aren't going to last after the season. Or well, maybe not. I think that are or at least have some sort of danger of being fired. And I want us both to rate them 1 to 10. 10 being they're totally getting fired. 1 being their job is safe completely. And let's start out with one that's. I was going to start out with Adam Gase, but we've been told he's coming back, so I don't really. And he's been playing better since then, so I don't think he's going to get fired. I guess we'll start with Gase. I want to give him a 2. I think there's still a chance, but I think Adam Gase is staying next year.
Yeah, I think I'm going to say 1 because they literally came out and said that he's staying around, and teams don't typically do that.
Yeah, so, he's been playing better, or he's been coaching better since then.
So
yeah, I don't see how you fire him.
After next season, different question, or different answer maybe. I don't know. It depends. We got to see him next season, but if they didn't come out and say that he's sticking around next season, honestly, for me, it would probably be 6 or 7.
Yeah, honestly, I agree, but I guess we know he's staying.
Yeah, anyway. We know he's staying, so yeah, that was a silly one. Why'd you do that one? They literally came out and said,
just get
run this by me before you.
All right, chill. Next one is Anthony Lynn for the Chargers after a massively disappointing season.
I'm gonna.
You go first.
Right, I'm gonna say a 5. I've been saying this for a while. Anthony Lynn, he's not that. He hasn't coached for too long. But
it's his 3rd year.
Yeah, it's his 3rd year. But I mean, 2 seasons in a row, the Chargers literally had one of the best teams in the NFL, and they just, I don't know, man. I don't know. I gotta say 5 or 6. I have to, because I think genuinely, maybe not this season, I guess, but maybe after next season, if they don't do anything again, I think he's just about done there.
I'm gonna put it at a 3 because he just had a 12-win season. I think they gave him the benefit of the doubt, and he's on his prove it year, I guess you could say. That's where I think he's at. Next, now this is one that might seem more unlikely, but it's been such a uninspiring season. I think it could happen, and it's Vic Fangio in his first year coaching for the Broncos. I'll go first here. I'm clocking this in at a solid 5, which is it could happen. It's been such a dull year, and a guy who was supposed to make this defense be like the defense of old, they just haven't been that. They've been pretty average. What are you thinking?
I'm gonna say 7.
Ooh.
I think it's very likely that he gets fired because this team has, number one, underperformed on defense. They can still have one of the better defenses in the league. And then on offense, they are just doing absolute crap.
Yeah.
So I think it is very likely, and he's an older guy,
He's not popular anymore.
Yeah. A lot of teams want that young, strategic coach, and he is not that.
He's an old-fashioned style, defensive, old guy coach. It's a throwback for sure, and it doesn't seem to be working just yet. So we'll see.
Yeah, so I think that's why I think maybe they'll just feel bad for him, just be like, yeah, we don't want to get rid of this guy who's literally knocking on death's door. So.
Yeah. All right. Up next is Freddie Kitchens of the Browns. This is a tough one. Because if you asked me 3 weeks ago, I would have clocked him in at like an 8 or a 9. After these last couple weeks, I got him in as like a 4. I think they're keeping him.
I'm gonna say an 8 because yeah. And now that number will probably go down if they just keep winning out. But like, problem is, one of those wins was against the Dolphins.
Gotcha.
Another one of those wins was against the Steelers, and then just completely disregarding that. Now I know they have a bad O-line, but regardless, Freddie Kitchens, his play calling has sucked. There's no reason why the Browns, who easily have one of the best overall teams in the entire NFL, are performing the way they are. Especially, they just can't put together full games too. So. Yeah, I think after the season, it's still very likely that you see Freddie Kitchens getting fired.
I think...
But knowing my luck, it's probably not going to happen.
If I had to bet money now, I'd bet they keep him because I don't think the Haslams want to go through the drama of firing him after his first season. I don't think they want to do that. They've done that a lot in the past. They fire coaches all the time in the past. But you could tell they were trying to step away from that with Hugh. They kept him... After 1-15, which was fine. Most people were actually in agreement with that. Then he goes 0-16, and you still keep him, and then you keep him halfway into the next year. It was just, yeah. So I think they're going to roll with Freddie for a while longer, at least another year. That's why I'm clocking in like a 4 or 5, somewhere in there. Because if he falls apart again, I could still see it. But if he keeps being consistent in this later part of the season, even though it's bad teams, I think they'll use that as an excuse to keep him longer. We'll see. But next we have Zack Taylor on the Bengals. Now, this is an interesting one. And this is one, I know what I'm going to say. I'm going to clock this in at like a 2. I think he's really safe because it's the Bengals and they don't fire their head coaches. Marvin Lewis was there for like as long as I've been freaking alive or something. He's been there forever. The problem is Zack Taylor's been really bad. His roster, while not good, has easily not been the worst, but they have performed like it. And I just don't. He was a quarterbacks coach before they hired him. I thought it was a bad hire, and you hired him because he was near Sean McVay, who Sean McVay is coaching one of the most uninspired teams in the league right now. I just think this is a terrible hire. And if I was the Bengals, he'd be gone after this year. But I'm not, so I think he stays. What do you think?
I'm going to say a 10. I think he's done after this season.
Oh, you think they're going to pull the trigger?
Yeah, I think – I mean, they got rid of Marvin Lewis, so I think
after a long time.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. They eventually realized they needed to get rid of him. I think they already know Zack Taylor is not the way to go because he has not coached well at all. He's had – it's really bad play calling mixed with a pretty bad roster. Again, I don't think it's the worst roster in football, but – it's certainly up there. So I think for sure he is getting fired.
Yeah, this will be an interesting one to come back to because we have very different takes on this. I want to see how this goes. We could come back to this pod sometime because I'm curious now.
Now, if the Bengals do keep him, they're stupid. I'm just saying that.
No, I agree. I think he should be gone. I'm just saying what I think they're going to do.
The thing was, at least with Marvin Lewis, you just got mediocrity. You kind of – it was like a coin flip whether or not you'd get in the playoffs, and then if you did get in the playoffs, it's like wild card. Yeah, you lose in the wild card or like the divisional round or something. So he can't even get them to the playoffs. So
yeah, we'll see.
He can't even get them a win. Good God. So,
no, I mean, I think.
Rough.
Well, I think at this point you kind of want to be bad, so you get that early pick in the draft. But at this point, I know he's scrambling to get a win. He's putting Andy Dalton back in. He really wants to win a game. Oh, hello, mother. I'm fuck.
Yeah.
That was my mother.
I'm not cutting that. That's fire. I'm not cutting that.
No.
Oh, that's amazing.
No.
That's
Cameo
amazing.
from Sandy. Where?
All right. Was that the last one?
Survivor's on. I gotta go.
Survivor's on.
No, that's cool. All right, let's move on. I'm moving on.
Oh my God, was that the last coach, or do you have any others?
No, that was just the AFC, dude.
Oh, come on.
Don't worry, I'll bang through them real quick. There's not as many in the NFC either, anyway. There's actually way less in the NFC. But next we have Pat Shurmur from the Giants. I'm going to clock him in at like an 8. I think he's gone.
You think so?
Management's pissed. You could tell the owner, after their most recent, or the second most recent, I don't know. They lost a game recently, and the owner was really pissed. I think he's all but gone.
Yeah, I'm going to put that in at a 10.
Yeah.
I said it like even well, I haven't. I don't think I've said it at all, but I just don't think Pat Shurmur is the way to go. He has been outcoached in almost every single game that he's played, even the games that they have won. I know that's weird to say, but he has been outcoached in almost every facet.
Yeah, I mean, last year I was saying he was one of the worst coaches in football. I actually think he managed to improve this year, but still not good enough. He's a better coordinator than he is head coach. I think he's gone. Next we have where is it? Next we have, this is an interesting one, but it's Nagy. Matt Nagy, from the Bears.
I have a hot take on this one.
Ooh!
But so maybe you should go first.
All right, I'll go first. I'm clocking this in at a solid 3. I think he's probably staying. I don't think he's gone. I think his play calling definitely has regressed. I mean, it's quite obvious, but I think a lot of that is Mitch Trubisky has been playing so bad. I think he deserves most of the flack on this one. What's your hot take?
So my rating is going to be like kind of the same, actually, like 2 or 3, because I don't think he's going to get fired. But that being said, I think he should get fired because he has been coaching like absolute doo-doo. He has been garbage this season, really, really bad. Like, especially going from last year at 12-4 to what's their record now? It's crap. I know that.
Their record is, I'm trying to remember, 5-6.
Yeah, I think he should get fired. And I'm saying that simply because
that's a tasty take.
He has coached like absolute doo-doo, and it's been very bad. He isn't the defensive-minded coach that we saw last year. You know, even I know he's not getting good QB play out of Mitchell Trubisky, but he is not coached well at all. He has made some Freddie Kitchen-esque boneheaded calls. It's been really bad. Really bad.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. I don't think he will be fired. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't think he will either. I think he should be, though.
If he has another bad season next year, I think he's gone. I have 2 more left. One is pretty obvious. One is an interesting one. So I'll start with the more obvious one. Dan Quinn of the Falcons. I think I'm gonna come right out and say it's a 9, unless he maybe wins out and ends at 8-8. I think he's gone. Even then, I still think he's probably gone.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have him at a 9.
I said this the other. Actually, it wasn't the other day. It was maybe like a couple weeks ago. But I was saying, like, yeah, if Dan Quinn doesn't pick up, with his wins, or it's rough because Dan Quinn has had one of the better offenses in the entire league, and I know the run game sucks, and the defense is bad, but he can't get it done, and especially what is it, 2 seasons in a row now that they don't go to the playoffs, or is it 3?
I'm trying to remember. I can't say I remember. They didn't make the playoffs last year. No, they made the year before. They did make it. Remember, they beat the Rams and lost to the Eagles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this is their second year in the row. They had a really bad disappointing season last year. It was kind of chalked up to injuries, so we kind of got away with it. But this year, there's not really. You can't use the excuse again. I mean, that's a wrap for him. But anyway, yeah. I have 1 coach left now.
Okay.
And it's an interesting one because it's probably not one you'd be thinking. It's Ron Rivera of the Panthers. Let me explain. The owner has recently come out with a statement that says he is tired of mediocrity, and he's a new owner. He became the owner, I think, some point last season. So, and I think after this season, I mean, they're looking to go around 8-8. I don't think it matters, even though Ron Rivera has been a really consistent coach for them. And I think he almost instantly gets a job after this. But I think he's gone. I think he's going to get fired, and they're going to restart. So I actually have that as I'm going to put that in as an 8. I think he's pretty much gone. I still think the coach is a big fan, or the owner is a big fan of the coach.
I'm going to go with a 10.
Goodness.
Yeah, I've never really been a big fan of Ron Rivera. So
spicy meatball.
I've never really liked Ron Rivera, so I can, and especially after the season, I can definitely see it.
Yeah, that being said,
especially because the Panthers have usually had a really good team for the most part. Then they either don't make the playoffs, they make the Super Bowl and then get defensively just shut down. Yeah. I think for sure. I think the Panthers organization is kind of tired of just mediocrity. It's almost like a Marvin Lewis kind of situation, even though Marvin Lewis never made the Super Bowl.
Oh, I'd say Ron Rivera is better than Marvin Lewis.
Oh, I think he is too, but it's just the fact of always making the playoffs but never actually doing anything, or at least not making the playoffs at all. So,
well, no matter what happens, I think
you get a crappy draft pick with it.
I think he gets instantly scooped up by another team.
Probably.
Sure. I think Dan Quinn gets another job as a head coach too, but we'll see about that one. Anyway, is there any other teams I'm forgetting? There's the Lions coached I could see, although I don't think so because of injuries.
Oh, man. Have you thought about Bill O'Brien, the Texans?
That's the thing. I was thinking of it, and before the show, I'm checking, and the Texans are winning their division, so I couldn't, with a good heart, put him on. I don't know. I think it's a solid, unless they fall apart, I'm rocking at 1. Now, if they fall apart, probably a 6. But I just don't think they're going to fall apart. So I don't know. I just don't think he gets fired. I was thinking about it, actually. But yeah. But anyway, is there any other coach? I didn't put Brian Flores on there either from the Dolphins because I think he's
been coaching. Yeah, he's been doing pretty well.
And of course, what's his name? Head coach of the Redskins. Jay Gruden. Yeah, he's already been fired. So
yeah. He was gonna be a ton, no matter what.
Oh yeah, he would have even if he was still 11 for sure. But yeah, and they did that. They fired him before we. Oh, of course. I completely forgot. Jason Garrett. How did I forget?
So, actually, after the little report, I guess, that came out from Jerry Jones, I'm saying 10.
Yeah,
I think he's done after this season.
I'd say 10 as well. I think because I don't think that he said they had to win the Super Bowl. In the report, at least, it says that he had to win the Super Bowl, and I don't think that's happening. So I'm going to clock in as 10 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank God. Well, because the Cowboys can easily be Super Bowl contenders if they just had a good coach.
I think it's time for Kellen
Jason
Moore to
Garrett sucks.
I think you get Kellen Moore, although I guess you get the Freddie Kitchens experience where you get an offensive coordinator who isn't experienced enough.
Oh, look at this. Jeff Driscoll isn't playing against Chicago.
Breaking news. Who is?
Breaking news. Lions expected to start David Blow.
That's the dude who had 49 overall in Madden, isn't it?
Yeah, third stringer.
I think that's the Browns
legend. Undrafted.
He was the Browns. Oh.
Ooh, undrafted rookie out of Purdue.
I'm keeping
breaking news here on the pod. That's crazy.
I'm still going with Lions. I don't care. David Blow, more like the Bears Blow.
Blow played in 44 games and started 36 over 4 seasons, leading the Boilermakers to a 13-23 record. Oh.
That's fire. All right.
Left school with 9,550 passing yards, 64 touchdowns,
Stop!
20 interceptions.
Stop! I don't want to hear about it anymore. Enough. I don't want to hear about David Blow. That game's going to suck, and I have to watch with my family.
That game's going to blow.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to the 4th and 9 Draw podcast. Thank you to Sandy for coming into my podcast studio or my bedroom. Thank you to Josh for making an appearance via Xbox chat.
We gotta start leaving these parties, dude.
Yeah, that was a massive L on our part. Once again, thank you to Peyton Holtzclaw for designing our logo. Thank you to Jesus. All right. Peace. What an outro.